tight-knit movement. I'm glad you're joining us. We're getting ready to bring useful solutions and opportunities. In light of everything that's going on, we want to set a pace, and we want to set some examples of solutions. So here today I have Mr. Edwin Abent. He used to be an owner of the Heart and Soul magazine. He is now one of the founders of Black Professional Men Group. And I wanted him to come today to explain his solution and how you can get involved with this OneMealAgenda.com. Edwin.
How you doing, Eartha? Thanks for having me. And thank you for being you, because you're always out there doing what we need to do in the community. It's been a pleasure working with you over the years, from all of our work around the Million Man March and the local organizing committee here in Baltimore, Maryland, through over the years of celebrating the work of the Million Man March and now your work that you're doing with the Tight Knit program and the radio show. You're always working to really benefit and uplift our community. And so I appreciate you inviting me here so I can talk to you about 100 Mil Agenda. 100 Mil Agenda is a new movement, if you will. It's the basis of a super PAC. We call it 100 Mil Agenda, the Brown and Black Super PAC. Now, what is a PAC? Most people don't know, but a PAC is a political action committee. And political action committees in this country are proliferating all over the place. Some of the more notable ones are super PACs like Emily's List, where they have gotten several people elected to office. HPAC, which is a Jewish political action community. And of course you hear the name the Koch brothers. They're involved in a variety of other super PACs which help to get conservative candidates elected to office. So certainly a lot of different PACs were behind the movements of the Tea Party in getting people into Congress. And if you look at the landscape of how Congress is shaped, the presidential elections are shaped, even local elections, super PACs are very much behind these movements. Now, what's the reason for starting 100 Mil Agenda? Well, what does the 100 Mil stand for? There's 100 million African Americans and Hispanic Americans in the United States right now. And that forms a major power. If people don't understand the power that they have.
They understand, and now they don't know how to utilize it. That's why I brought you here.
Right.
Because I think everybody studies the brown and the African Americans, and they create a way to use it for their benefits. But today I want the audience to understand that we're here with you to show us how we can utilize that power for ourselves.
Sure. One of the things that I think is really important for us, quite often, not only do African Americans do this, but Latino Americans do this, we get behind charismatic figures.
Correct.
You know, just look at the last presidential election, the last two presidential elections, we got behind a very charismatic figure. And quite often, whether it's locally or on a state level or nationally, we get behind charismatic individuals. And quite often, though they get elected to office, our circumstances don't change.
Correct. Because it was not our agenda that even got them elected, because you got to know how to play a game to win a game.
Exactly. And what you might notice, even after the last election, there are certain groups that were able to get certain agendas passed. Whether it was,
let's name them. Gay rights,
gay marriage was big for the gay community.
You know?
Immigration was very big for our brown, our Hispanic American brethren and sisters. So those issues got forwarded, but we have to ask ourselves as African Americans, as well as other Hispanic Americans, are the major issues impacting our community, those issues that create disparities in our community, whether it's health, education, policing, wealth building, all of those different things, are we benefiting? And the answer is no. There are big major gaps and disparities between white Americans and others and people of color. And so what this agenda seeks to do is to get a collective voice about what are the most important issues impacting the community and focus on 10 issues. So what we're going to do is we're launching a survey.
I was going to say, the best part that you have, which people don't feel sometimes when they're involved, is an opportunity for people to get involved. So you're saying at the initial start, you're going to launch out a survey that we all can participate in.
Absolutely.
So how does that work?
So we're going to ask everybody to be on the lookout. There's two ways they can participate. A, they can go to our site, 100milagenda.com, and they can take the survey there.
Right.
Once again,
Okay.
100milagenda.com, and they can take the survey there. Or they can keep an eye out for it on Facebook. They can come to our group page, 100 Mil Agenda, on Facebook. They can follow us on Twitter. But we will shoot out this survey to all of the people in the country, and they can take part in it. So if you get it, pass it on to your friends, share it with your friends. But we're asking all of the members of the community, both African Americans and Hispanic Americans, to partake in this agenda. Take
That's
the
the
survey.
first place where you guys can have your voices heard. You're always wondering, how can you be involved? How can you be heard? Take the survey, giving us the information about what you think is important. I like the way you laid that survey out. You laid the survey out where people can have 3 options. What's most important, least important, into what average. But it's 3 options, right?
Exactly. Each
So-
category, whether it's education, wealth building, policing, justice, voting rights, each one gives people 3 options to choose from. And we gathered these questions from the community. We asked people what questions, what are the things that you feel to be most important? And then we put them out there so that the entire community can rank what's the most important thing. Because we can't be all over the place. We got to get focused like a laser beam.
Yeah, I like the way you stated that, because even with your plan, you're saying that when we gather this data back, we may show you guys the top 10, right? But what you're saying, we may only take the top 2, because those top 2 is where we're going to pour our resources and our energy in. So we won't be all over the place, and again, come out with more of a solutionary concept. I think what happened, a lot of us know what we want, but we didn't know how to get it. Because we're all running around spreading our resources too thin. We're pointing fingers at individuals. I think Barack Obama was a great president. I think he did what he had to do to become president. I don't believe that we understood how to play politics. Right. So when we get a person in a seat, we're not able to utilize that person for our own agenda because we didn't give him an agenda.
Right.
Because remember when Barack first went in, we stated what was the black agenda.
Right.
And he said he did not run on a black agenda, he ran on an all people's agenda.
Well, I go one step further. Not only did we not give him the agenda, but we also didn't back him financially the way that others might have. And that doesn't happen not just at the presidential level, but at the state level and at the local level.
Right.
When most of the policies that impact us as a people happen at the local level. One of the major things that is sprouting up all over the country, and that's why Black Lives Matter is popular, is the issue around police brutality.
Correct.
Police brutality happens on a local level. And so you got to ask, who directs this local, the local impact, the local policing? Well, mayors select police chiefs.
Right.
Police chiefs administer police departments and set policies. That's a local issue. So therefore, people got to look at who are they electing for mayor, and then hold that mayor accountable for who they appoint as a police chief, so that that police chief, spreads down to his department what kind of behavior he expects. The same thing with prosecutors. In Baltimore, we had Marilyn Mosby, who indicted police officers found to be involved in the murder of Freddie Gray. However, if you go to Ferguson, where Michael Brown was killed by a police officer, you had a whole different prosecutor who looked at things totally differently. But those prosecutors are often elected by people. So therefore, we're not looking at this just at the presidential level. We're looking at things on the granular level, down at the local level, at the state level, and at the federal level. So what this national agenda, this 100 Mil agenda will do, it will give us all the marching orders so that we will all be able to be on the same page. These are the issues that we're going to push our elected officials to stand for on education, on housing, on health care. They stand for these issues and we support them. If they don't stand for these issues, we are able to grade them. We'll be able to go online, give them a 1-star, 2-star, 5-star as to their performance in office, so that all of us collectively can rate how well that person that we supported through our super PAC has done. So the first step, do the survey so that everybody can be involved. Sure.
Because I would like our audience to try to understand this on, I want to say, on the basic level. When you even use the word super, you're saying that we need to become empowered, guys. We don't have the power to make a difference if you go to your local election and you got the same people over and over and again. So what people have done, they have created things like super PACs. to find the proper resources, to find the proper information, and to find the proper economic component that can get people reelected and get new leadership, right?
Well, that's key,
So,
because what we're doing with the agenda sets the platform. Then all of us collectively have to say, if we want this platform to work, we have to back it financially.
Correct.
That gives people the opportunity to, once again, go to 100milagenda.com, where they can actually donate and become members of the Super PAC by putting in money and donating. They can donate anywhere from $1 up to $1 million, because it's a Super PAC. It's not tied to any one political candidate. But with those funds, we are now able to direct them towards candidates and causes that we're most concerned about. So we have an agenda, then we have funds, and we hold those people who would like to be elected to the standards of our agenda, to say, if you go and you fight on behalf of our agenda, and we believe in you and we pick you, then we will back you financially, we'll back you with our votes, we'll back you with our volunteers. Now, here's what's most important, that it doesn't matter to me whether that person is a Democrat, a Republican, or an independent person, or a libertarian. It doesn't matter whether they're black, white, Jewish, Hispanic, it doesn't matter. It matters because we all know that there's plenty of good white people who, when you see those protests in our community about Freddie Gray or Michael Brown, they're there with us. They're shoulder to shoulder with us, because they do genuinely care about our issues, and they know that there's a lot of disparities and unfairness that happens in our community.
But let's also put it clearly, there is a lot of agendas that you have seen Democrats, Republicans vote for because of the pressure of the people who put them on that course. So that's the same thing we're trying to do, is we want you, again, to join us, 1milagenda.com.
Actually,
go
it's
to our website.
100 mil.
I'm sorry, it says 100 mil.
100 mil agenda.
100milagenda.com. Please check us out, go to our website, and we'll be right back again with Edwin Avent. Thank you. Welcome back, welcome back. Again, we want to explain why we're here today. My guest today is Edwin Avent. He is formerly the owner of Heart and Soul magazine. He's also one of the founders of Black Professional Men Group, but he made his fame and fortune in business in one of our health issues. I'll let him tell you about that later. But it's great that he's here today, again, providing us with information, because information is power. And today we're going to empower you with our 100milpac.com agenda. Edwin, explain to our audience more what that is.
Sure. And just to clarify, it's 100milagenda.com. And once again, 100 mil agenda. What is the 100 mil and what does that stand for?
Yes.
Well, as I stated earlier, in the United States, there are about 47 million African Americans, and now there's about 53 million Hispanic Americans. We are now quickly becoming one of the largest sub-minority groups in the country. Pretty soon, as our numbers continue to grow, we will become a majority of the United States. Yes. Already, we are the majority of a lot of the major urban centers all across the country. Mm-hmm. And as a result, by us being collected in those different areas, we actually wield a lot of political power. What do I mean by that? Every time you look at a presidential election, they talk about the swing states. The swing states are Ohio, Pennsylvania, Virginia, North Carolina, and Florida. And when you look at those 5 states, mm-hmm. Ohio has Cincinnati and Cleveland. Pennsylvania has Philadelphia, which is a major hub of African Americans. Right. Virginia has the Alexandria, Northern Virginia, and you got the Newport News, Virginia Beach sector. Then you go down into Florida, you got the West Palm Beach crew. In North Carolina, you have, the Charlottes, you have, Durham. You have these high concentrations of African Americans. Wow. Now, what's really important to know is that in the last presidential election, just with regards to African Americans, 16 million African Americans voted in the last presidential election and in 2008. President Obama won by 5 million popular votes.
That's what I'm saying.
By 5 million popular votes out of the 200, million votes that were cast around the country. He won by 5 million popular votes. So if African Americans alone had decided to go to Mitt Romney, he would be the president. That's the type of power we have. But imagine when you collectively have that with the Latino Americans in the country too, who are heavily located in some of these same states that I just named. collectively, we have the power to be able to shift national outcomes.
So this time what you're saying is that instead of us just going with our collective power just to vote, you want us to go with an agenda.
Yes, an agenda,
So
a purpose.
this time it makes, again, not this conversation that we're having for the 2 terms Barack Obama been in, the conversation we have had, that nothing came out of his presidency. And my question was, what did we want to have come out of it?
Right.
And that's why I'm passionate to where you're going.
Sure.
Do
Now,
you
I
wanna
think
join
there were
us?
some positive things
Well, I'm
that
saying
came
there
out
was-
of his presidency.
But I'm
and
saying
so
agenda-wise.
we're not going to dwell on that, but I don't think that our communities feel like we got as much as we had hoped we would have gotten. And
That's why I'm asking our
Exactly.
community, do you want to set the agenda? As he said, we got a lot of positive things because he was a president for the people. So if he's a president for the people, he's going to bring some good things out of it because he was looking out for all. But this time, what we're asking you, do you want to set the agenda? Do you want to see this president be able to come to a platform talking about your agenda? So that's where I would like you to make our audience understand, where do they fit in and how do they fit in? Because what you're saying, it is time for us to put out a national survey.
Right. Well, the
This national
survey, and one of the things I always like to point to, and you hear this all the time in the African American community, say, man, Jews are united. They do things together.
Right.
Man, the Republicans are tight. They do things together. And they do it together because they're singing from the same hymn book. They have the same marching orders, and they stay
have the same
collected.
agenda.
They have the same agenda. Where we have disparate agendas. We don't necessarily come together. We got different talking heads who call themselves a leader. But I believe in this day and age of social media where everybody's taking selfies, everybody's building their own page, everybody has 100,000 followers, everybody wants to be the leader. All these individual people want to be the leader. And
infrastructure.
they can be. That's the whole thing.
Right.
That the new voice of leadership is different than it used to be. And social media helps to make it that way. So how about if we use social media to bring us all together, to have our collective voices come together and focus on topics that we feel are important to us. Okay?
So you feel in this survey is where you want to start.
Exactly.
So to send a national survey out through all our methods.
Exactly.
Again, you can go to the website or you can go to Facebook, Twitter. We are also going to have this on various Instagram, radio stations. I have a radio show here in Baltimore. We come on every Saturday, the Tight Knit Movement. We will feature a segment on our show every Saturday on WLOB 1010. Tune in.